Today I'm going to show you how to set up a Facebook ad campaign. This is directed for dentists, as I will be walking you through how to set up, for example, an Invisalign campaign, but it is really just how to go into Facebook Ads Manager and set up a campaign. So the first thing you'll want to go ahead and do is Google Meta Business Suite, and then you'll click on the first link that pops up. From there, you'll want to go ahead and select Get Started. And that's going to take you to a page that looks like this. All right, and then for privacy reasons of my other clients, I just have this blocked off. But what you'll want to go ahead and do is it's going to take you to your business portfolio, and it's likely going to be selected on People. And then the next thing you'll want to do is navigate down to Ad Accounts and click on this link. And it's going to take you to a screen that looks like this. Now, if you do not have an ad account already created, this is the place that you can go ahead and create one. I'm going to make myself smaller just for a second. You can see here is the add button. You'll go ahead and click add, and then it'll prompt you on all the steps and take you through all the steps to set up your own ad account. In the case that you have one created or you have just completed creating one, what you'll want to go ahead and do is select it and click Open in Ads Manager. Okay, so now it's going to open your Ads Manager, and this is where you're actually going to go in and set up your campaign. So there'll be an option here to click Create Campaign. Now, when you set up your ad account or created it, there was an option for you to add in your payment method. In the case that you skipped it for the moment and you need to add in a payment method, you can also add it in through Billing and Payments here. It'll prompt you to add in a payment method. But back to creating a campaign. So under campaigns, you'll want to go ahead and click create. And that's going to open this up where you can select your campaign objective. I'm going to walk you through how to set up a lead gen campaign. So what you'll want to select is leads, and then you'll want to select continue. And then what it's going to have you do is choose a campaign setup. So I would suggest for your first campaign to have the recommended settings option selected. The other way to do it is to set up your whole campaign from scratch, but it is beneficial to use kind of meta suggestions as well because it has its own algorithm and it will kind of analyze your ads and put it in front of people within your area that they think would also be a good fit. So it kind of adds extra leverage than if you were just doing your own targeting. So we're going to go ahead with the recommended settings setup, and then you'll want to go ahead and select continue. So the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure you name your campaign, because if you have different offers going on at different times, you want to make sure that you're organized and you can easily go to the campaign you want to work with. So we're going to set up an Invisalign campaign. So I'm going to name this Invisalign campaign, and I'm going to put today's date for the day it was launched. All right. And then the next thing to do is you can select special ad categories. You won't need to do that. That's more if you're running like political ads or employment ads, then you wouldn't select something there. But because we're not doing that, you don't need to do that. And then both your Advantage campaign budget and A/B testing for now should be off. Then you'll want to go ahead and select next. And this is where you're going to create your ad set. Your ad set is specifically your targeting that you have for that campaign. The really cool thing about this is you can create multiple different ad sets and you can have the same ads running under different ad sets. So you're essentially at that point testing your different targeting and seeing what's working. And then you have certain ad sets you can set off or you can keep them on if they're performing well. So I would suggest first naming your ad set. That way we can stay organized. So we're going to do for this ad set, the interests are going to be health and beauty. And then what you can do is this is where you would select if you either want to do an instant form, which is the Facebook native lead form, or you can do your landing page. The best way to get qualified leads is through your landing page as it shows more intent. They're taken from Facebook to a landing page where they have a ton of information. They can learn more about your practice and then they give their information. However, if you would like to start with just doing instant forms, you can do that as well. I'll walk you through how to set up both, whether you want to do your landing page or your native Facebook lead forms. So first, we're going to go through it as an instant form. And then what you want to go ahead and do is scroll down And right here on your right side, you're going to be seeing your audience size. Now, you want your audience size to be large, but also concise. You don't want to be targeting just everybody and random people, and that's where your location comes into play, and that's also where your interests come into play. So you still want a pretty large audience size, otherwise you're going to have a low volume of leads, but you also still want it to be concise. So what you'll want to go ahead and do, scroll down, make sure your correct Facebook page is selected, and then your performance goal should be maximum number of leads. And then for your budget, this is where you set how much you want to spend a day. So what we recommend starting off with for a campaign to get somewhat decent results is at least $50 a day. It's good to start at $50, $60 a day, see how your campaigns are doing, and then see if it's working. If it's working, then pump some more money into it. But in the case that it's not doing that well, you don't want to be spending a ton and you don't know if what you're testing is really going to work out and bring you results. So we're going to set the daily budget at $50. This is where you can set your start date of when you want the campaign to launch. So let's say we want to launch today, and I'm just going to push it out for an hour. That means the ads will go live today at 6 o'clock. Let's say it's PM, so it'll go live in about an hour. And then you can actually even set an end date. So let's say you're running an Invisalign special, it's only going to be active till the end of January. You want to make sure you select that the campaign turns off. You can also go in and manually do it, but it's easier just to have it set that if you forget about it, you forget about it. It's okay. The campaign turns off anyways. And then this is where you go ahead and you create your audience. So the first thing you want to do is set your location. We obviously don't want to target the whole United States. We want to target a radius around your practice. So you want to go ahead and put your practice address in. And once it's in, you can go ahead and select your radius. Now for your radius, you don't want it to be too large, but you also don't want it to be too small. So a good radius to start with, which is good for testing in the beginning, is anywhere from 10 to 15 miles. Hey guys, just wanted to add in here, the 10 to 15 mile radius suggestion is if you are in the suburbs. If your practice is located in a big city or a metropolitan area, you will have a much smaller radius. Ideally, you want to have your audience size be around 200,000 people, so monitor your audience size as you adjust the radius. It could be as small as 1 mile or as big as 5 miles, depending on your city size. So I'm going to stick with the 10 miles, and then you do have to remove the United States, otherwise they overlap and that can mess up the targeting. So make sure you just have your practice address and the radius you want to target. Then the next thing to do is to go into specifics about your audience. So here under advanced audience, what you can do is you can click on the plus advanced suggestion. So you can set your age, you can set the genders you want to target, and you can add your demographics, interests, and behaviors. If you do have a really, really large patient database, it's a really cool feature Meta allows, but is only suggested if you do have a really big patient database. What you can actually do is get an Excel file of your patient database, first name, last name, email, and phone number, or just one, either email or phone number, and you can upload that into Meta. And then what it will do is it'll create what's called a lookalike audience, and it will target not the patients that are on the list, but patients similar to those on the list. So what it'll do is it'll analyze the platform and it will find a Facebook account created with either the email, the phone number, or the full name. And then it will kind of review their data, see what their interests and behaviors are, and then create an audience similar to that. Now, if you don't have a really, really big patient database, this is not recommended and it can actually hinder performance. So that is something to consider. And if you were to do that, that's where you would go from here, your custom audiences, you would upload your patient database and then you could select it here. But for this video, I'm just going to walk you through how to set up an audience without incorporating your patient database. So for here under detailed targeting, this is where you want to add a few things about interests or behaviors that are common amongst your patients. So for example, those looking for Invisalign may be interested in health and wellness. So let's look up health and wellness, and then you want to make sure that interests is what's next to the thing you're selecting. So let's do that. And then another one could be health and beauty. So here, health and beauty, cosmetics, and it says interest next to it. Let me scroll down. Okay. And then like another thing, let's just add another one, cosmetics. And you can see here, if I were just start to type in cosmetics but not finish it, you can see that there are other interests or behaviors that you can select, such as cosmetology, fields of study, or cosmetology employers, or cosmetology job titles. So there's a bunch of different things that you can really select and choose in here, but I'm going with just the interests for right now. And this is where I was originally talking about different ad sets. So for this ad set, I'm testing people that are in these demographics and that have these interests. And that's based on data that Facebook has collected that they're interested in these things. Now, if you create a new ad set, you can target maybe similar demographics, but change up your interests. Or what you can do is change everything and have a whole new audience that you're testing. And you can test the same creatives and different ad sets and see what works for you. Now, the next thing to do from here is just to click next, and we're going to actually go in, we're going to upload your creative, your copywriting, and create your lead form. Okay, so upon clicking next, this is where you actually go in and you put your ads, and you can add several different ads in here, and each ad will populate under the ad set. So again, you want to make sure that you're labeling or naming your ad. So this is going to be Invisalign picture ad number 1. This way you can just stay organized. And then from here, you want to make sure you have the correct Facebook page and Instagram account selected. And then you're going to want to go under add creative and you're going to set up your creative. In this case, I'm going to set up an image ad. It's going to work the same. If you have a video ad, you'll just select a video ad. So from image ad, for primary text, this is your copywriting. So this is what is the caption essentially of the advertisement. So I have mine copied already, and you do want for your copywriting to be specific to your city, so you're calling out those in your area. And then if you have a special going on, you want to break down what they're really getting. So if they want to opt in, they know what they're getting, and it's appealing to them to opt in the first place. And then, of course, you always want to have a call to action. Where do they go after seeing this ad? What do they do next? Then the next thing you want to do is add a headline. A headline is just something very short, something like schedule your free consultation today. And then your call to action is where they're going to click on the ad to get to the next step. So I would suggest either learn more or book now. After this, you're going to go ahead and click next, and this is where you add your media. So I've already uploaded the ads I want to use, but in the case you haven't, all you'll do is click upload and then select your image or video. So I'm going to select my image and I'm going to click next. Now this is cool because it shows you exactly what it's going to look like formatting wise. So you know you have an issue with formatting before you've actually published. So in this case, this is what your Instagram post or Facebook post is going to look like when people are just scrolling on their feed. Now, if we take a look at what it's going to look like on stories or reels, this honestly doesn't look the best. So what I would suggest is wherever you create your video or your image ad, you want to actually format one version for posts and one version for stories. So what you can do is if you have that done, then you can actually replace your image with, let's say, the story version. And then you can see this looks much better now. And then once you've confirmed everything looks good, you'll click next. And then from here, it kind of goes into Facebook giving suggestions and implementing its AI to enhance or improve things. I don't really think that that's necessary for now, and especially if it's your first campaign, you just want to get something out there and not play around too much with the AI features. So for generate images, I'm just going to go ahead and click skip and continue. And then under optimize, again, these are things that Facebook will do to kind of help make the ads, in their opinion, more attractive. And sometimes they'll actually have things automatically turned on. So just be mindful of that and make sure that the things that are turned on, you want turned on, or to just go ahead and turn them off if you don't want them on. So I'm going to click here, see 2 more active enhancements, and we can see it had these 2 things automatically on. I'm just going to go ahead and turn them off. And then from there, you can click done. And then from here, now you're going to start seeing a preview of what your ad will look like. So what we'll want to do is scroll down, and it is a little bit repetitive, but it'll have you put your copywriting in again. And then what you can do is you can actually add in different text options. So what it will do is it'll test ads with one copywriting and other copywritings. You can do the same thing for headlines, and then it'll kind of throw it out there and see what does best, and then use the ones that are performing the best. So it is good to have variations. I would suggest having at least 2 different versions of your copywriting, and you can add that in here. And then the next thing to do is, again, put your headline. So let's say schedule your free consultation today. And then your call to action, again, just make sure it's correct and you have it at what you want it to be. So learn more. So now you can see it's starting to come together, right? You have your creative right here, you have your copywriting, and then at the bottom, you have schedule your free consultation today, your headline, and then your call to action button, learn more. All right, and this is where you can go ahead and either select a lead form that you already have made or go ahead and create one. So I'm going to walk you through how to create one. So you'll create your form. And then you always want to make sure you label it correctly. So Invisalign lead form. All right. And then if you are doing a lead form, what I would suggest is clicking form type as higher intent. This just gives them a couple more steps they have to get through before they hit submit, rather than just auto-filling and going through it super quickly. And that can help with qualifying the leads a little bit more if you are choosing the lead form option. So after you have selected your form type, you can click next, and then you can add a background image if you want to. It is always good to do a greeting where you can put a headline and a short description. All right, so I just went ahead and I added in a headline and a description for an example. Headline, something along the lines of claim your Invisalign special voucher now. Dreamed of having straight teeth without having to deal with the constraints of metal braces? Well, now is your chance. Patient Excel, or your practice name, currently has an Invisalign special just for you, only valid for a limited time. And then from here, you can click next. And then this is where you can add in your qualifying questions, which is recommended, especially for a lead form, because it makes them have a little bit more intent when they're filling out the form. So for example, you can add a question. You can choose any kind of question. I'm going to choose multiple choice, and it can be something along the lines of, have you had orthodontic treatment in the past? Yes or no. And this way, it's just some more things that they have to read, they have to think about, they have to answer. It helps qualify the lead and ensure that they do have intent in coming in, claiming your voucher, or coming into the practice in the first place. And then the next thing you have is where you can gather their information. So that can be their full name, their email, and let's get rid of company name and let's add phone number. All right, and then next it wants you to go ahead and link a privacy policy. You have to do this. So if you have your privacy policy, this is the place to put it in. And then you'll click next. And then this gives people a chance to kind of go over their information and make sure it looks correct. This is that one of those extra steps that the intent lead form puts in there. It's just one more thing they have to go through, which helps to qualify that lead. All right, and then from here is where it's just your outro message, something like, thanks, you're all set. You can add a description, visit our website, or exit the form now if you want to take them to somewhere they can get more information. And then you can even leave a call to action here as well. Please be on the lookout for a call from our office soon, and we look forward to seeing you at our office soon. Something along those lines is great. It's a little last message they get. And then you have the option then to put additional action, which I have selected as go to a website, or you can even have them call your business right away. That's another good option. And then you can put a link to the website or your phone number if you selected call business. And then from here, what you can do is you can go ahead and select create form. It's going to make the form, and you can see that that is going to be the one that is currently selected for this campaign. And then from here, what you're going to want to go ahead and do is you can opt in for tracking if you would like, but this is more for if you have a landing page set up. If you have a landing page set up, great. And then you can actually track what happens when they go click on and visit a landing page, or if they put their information in on the landing page, you can do all of that here and set that tracking. So in the case you would like to set up, instead of doing the native lead form, a landing page, which is great. Again, it helps to qualify the leads. They have to have more intent. They see the ad, they click the learn more or book now button. They're taken to a landing page. On the landing page, they can get access to a bunch of information about your practice or the special going on or the service that is being promoted. And then you can have them go through a contact form. You can even have them go through a quiz. All of that is really great. This is how you do it and set it up for your campaign. So instead of selecting instant form here under conversion, you're going to want to go ahead and select website. And then everything else, the setup will be the same. You go through, you set your daily budget, your schedule, you create your audience, everything here you do the same as previously talked about. And then instead of when you get down to where the lead form would be, it will say destination. And then this is where you can put in your URL to your landing page. All right, so let's say, for example, we put in our website here, and then now because I didn't go through the full setup again, I just wanted to quickly show you where you would put your landing page link. Right now it's showing our favicon as our creative element, but when you go through and you add your creative and you upload your image or your video, instead of seeing the favicon here displayed, you'll see your creative, and then at the bottom you'll see your website and then the learn more button. Instead of taking them to a lead form where they can give their information and answer the questions, it'll reroute them to the landing page where they can then give their information and answer questions on the landing page. And then from here, this is where you could then set up your tracking to track your website events. So once you've set up your campaign up until this point, you're ready to launch. So then from here, all you go ahead and do is click publish and your campaign will be active and you will have launched your Facebook meta ad campaign. If you have any questions about setting up a campaign, feel free to leave comments underneath this video, or you can click the link in the description below to set up a meeting with our team and we can address any questions you have.